Wesley and Louise were finally enjoying their golden years. They were living in their downsized retiree home, doing the things they each enjoyed. During their 42-year marriage, they'd raised their 3 children and sent them all to college, and at least for the moment, out of the house. Wesley was quite proud of the fact he'd always been able to provide for his family. But Wesley was a rather proud man. His family rested comfortably with a calming assurance knowing they could always depend on him, and they had. However, that security was shattered when Wesley was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Wesley, a man who'd never been sick a day in his life, had the big C. Like an air balloon that had suddenly been stabbed, Louise was uncontrollably bouncing off the walls. The shock of learning Wesley had cancer shook her to her core. No less rattled were their children, who thought their father was invincible. Of the 3, Claire's reaction was the most torrential, which wasn't anything unusual for Claire. Claire's adult life had been volatile for reasons none of them ever really understood or even tried to. Claire and her demons had been the source of many a contentious battle within the family. For whatever her problem was, it didn't matter to any of them now. Wesley had cancer, and that was all any of them cared about. Claire was going to have to take care of Claire for a change, instead of expecting everyone else to do it for her. But Louise had a quiet courage and determination of her own. She was a woman of faith, who trusted and believed in the prevailing power of prayer. Wesley may have been the mighty oak, but Louise was its root. She was the one who provided the steady nurturing, giving it the strength to weather the storms that battered it. Louise had taken a personal offense to this menace that dared to threaten her family. She put on her full armor, ready to do battle. She'd taken up a shield of faith to extinguish the flaming arrows that now seemed to take aim at those she loved the most. Though Wesley's cancer was in its early stages, it required surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. Even though his family rejoiced at the prognosis, Wesley didn't know which was worse, the illness or the cure. Life was now happening around him, not to him. The repeated hospital and doctor visits, the pain, the tumbling of his internal organs beating against the walls of his body was excruciating. Wesley just wasn't the same man he was before the cancer. He knew it, Louise knew it, and their children knew it. His life may have been spared, but the heart and soul of the man they loved was dying away before their eyes. Worse yet, they all felt powerless to make it stop. All but Louise, who wasn't about to give up. When Claire announced she was pregnant, Louise knew her hard trials weren't ending anytime soon. It wasn't just Claire's general history of erratic behavior. It wasn't that she was not married, and the men she dated would make you cross to the other side of the street if you saw them walking toward you. It was Claire's long-term drug abuse they all had pretended didn't exist that escalated Louise's worries and her prayers. Wesley, however, had become so withdrawn he barely even blinked at the news that Claire was pregnant and moving back home again. This was going to be a long and difficult pregnancy for all of them. Louise could already feel the labor pains rolling through her old bones. The months passed in agonizingly slow motion as Louise watched Claire's bellies grow and Wesley shrinking away. When Claire delivered a healthy baby boy, the room reverberated with sighs of relief. Claire at last had put her drug use aside for herself and for her child. However, in the midst of their celebration, Wesley felt nothing but dread and anxiety. For him, this blessed event meant returning to that place that both made him well and made him sick. Inside Claire's hospital room, Wesley just stared out the window, untouched by the commotion centered around the tiny bundle of joy lying in the bassinet. Everyone's gleeful exuberance was lost on him. That was until the miracle happened. Louise swooped up her new little grandbaby and thrust him into Wesley's once mighty arms before he could stop her. At first, the precious infant thrashed around fitfully, but he was soon eased into a peaceful slumber, comforted by the man who held him. Ignoring the others in the room, Wesley whispered into his little ear, "Papa is here now. Everything's going to be all right." Louise was captivated by the angelic scene that was unfolding in front of her. The serenity was a welcome and unexpected beam of light, erasing the darkness that had enveloped this family for so long. A hush descended on the room as everyone was transfixed and awestruck by the power this newborn had on all of them. That impact was especially evident in Wesley, whose resurrection had at last commenced. The veil of despair began melting away, bringing Wesley back to the man they knew and loved before the big seed launched its attack. This infant accomplished something no one else had been able to do. He breathed new life into a man whose spirit had died. He bestowed courage and confidence into his embattled mother. He'd slain the demons that had been tormenting his new family, and he answered the prayers of a woman who would not give up. The miracle they all desperately needed was born. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven. There is a time to be born. It's a time of new beginnings that has the pervasive power to wipe away the debris left behind from a stormy past. It isn't just the birth of a child, it's the birth of hope. It is that hope that the enemies that wreak havoc in and out of season can be defeated, even by the smallest of warriors. You just need a little faith.
Yeah.